How's it going, everybody? It's C-RadTV back here with another video. So, of course, it's time for another NFL draft preview. So, in the last preview, we looked at the top Day 2 linebacker prospects for rounds 2 and 3 of the draft. In this video, we're going to be finishing off the Day 2 previews by looking at the top defensive backs and safeties for rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL draft, since the secondary is a massive need for the Lions with how much of a tire fire it is. And you know, with the trades of Darius Slay and the Lions losing Rashad Melvin in free agency, it will become a massive need in free agency. So yeah, with that being said, let's take a look and let's see how we go, what we have here. So, starting off with defensive backs, the first one we're going to look at here, hailing out of TCU, standing 5'11", weighing 190 pounds, we have Jeff Gladney. So for Jeff's strengths, he's a twitchy cover corner, has elite quickness, straight line speed. Prior to the 2019 season, his 40 time was clocked in around a mid 4.3, so he has around a 4.35 40-yard time. Now, he's expected to be one of the fastest players in the draft. Has terrific initial quickness at the snap, gains depth with his back pedal, smoothly transitions to remain on the hips of receivers. So very solid in man coverage. He plays with a chip on his shoulder, bigger than his size suggests. Has experience inside of the nickel as well. He has the toughness to handle that role in the NFL. You know, scrappy tackler, takes aggressive pass toward the ball. His athleticism to handle coverage and often sneaks peeks at the QB. He puts himself in a position to make game-changing plays, so he could be a game-changer for sure. So overall, he was a 4-year starter at TCU. At TCU, he had 146 career tackles, 5 interceptions, and 43 passes defended, so he can make plays. For his weaknesses, though, he looks a lot stouter on tape than his name was originally listed at TCU. Possesses just average size per position, little room for his frame for additional muscle mass without losing any quickness or speed. He lacks that ideal arm length to cloud passing lanes when caught trailing and when competing in those jump ball situations. So he could get burned on those kind of plays too. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Aaron Colvin of the Washington Redskins. He looks very solid, pretty fast, so he can keep up with a lot of the fast receivers in this draft. Someone the Lions should for sure have on the board in the later rounds, for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Utah, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 195 pounds, we have Jalen Johnson. So Jalen, for his strengths, he's a quick twitch cover man who combines his plus athleticism with impressive route recognition. Ball skills to rank is one of the best big play corners in the draft, so he can make those big plays when you need him to. He's well versed in various defensive schemes. Shows the agility and smooth acceleration to handle press ball. The physicality and bump and run, as well as his football IQ, an instant closing ability for his own responsibilities. He's at his best when he crowds receivers at the seam of routes, includes jumping in front to snatch seemingly well-thrown passes. Has good ease of movement, obvious as he has a low, tight back pedal, oily hips to change directions fluently, especially keen to slants, posts, and whip routes. Shows the ability to plant his foot and drive on the ball. So overall, he was a 4-year starter. Not 4-year. He was a 4-star recruit. Coming out of high school, he had a laser time 4.47 40-yard dash. So pretty fast defensive back too. He was an immediate contributor at Utah in 2017. Since then, he started in 27 consecutive games. He's earned first-team All-Pac-12 honors the last 2 years. Also, in that span, he's also had 6 interceptions and 21 passes defended. For his weaknesses, though, he's a true riverboat gambler. He would double down on 12 and blackjack every time. He has willingness to jump short and intermediate routes. It leaves him vulnerable to double moves by those savvy route runners and those accurate QBs. So that's going to be a problem. He's grabby downfield. He gets away with plenty of jersey tugs throughout the route, but they will get called in the stricter NFL. Especially in today's NFL, when the ref balling, where the greatest mystery is what the fuck is a penalty. He runs a bit hot and cold in run support. He shows just average commitment toward fighting through receiver blocks. Takes on backs in the open field when teammates are near. He occasionally will duck his head. He'll swipe as a tackler with some unsightly misses that you can catch on tape. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Janoris Jenkins of the New Orleans Saints. I mean, he's very good in man coverage. So he fits the scheme well, but, you know, he's got to work on a lot of stuff, though, to be effective. Like not taking penalties, and he's got to learn to not miss a lot of his tackles, so he's got to tackle better, for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of LSU, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 200 pounds, we have Kristian Fulton. So Kristian, for his strengths, he's a classic cover corner, springs in his legs, generates immediate bursts out of his breaks and downfield, has easy athleticism, which allows him to turn and run with the swiftest of receivers. He's composed and confident when he lines up in press coverage. He was rarely challenged, occasionally lines up off. He shows patience when doing so, as well as the quick burst close to whether he's in man or zone coverage. Has the good size to handle bigger receivers. It does not back down from a physical challenge. So overall, he was a 2-year starter at LSU. He had 25 passes defended the last 2 years in that span, and he also had 2 of those 25 passes defended become interceptions. Part of the reason those numbers are down is that throughout his entire college career the last 2 years, the opposing offenses and QBs that he's faced, they've generally avoided his side of the field. So Kristian can make that much of an impact to where the offense will not even try and target him. But hey, you know, the best way to get a defensive playmaker out of a game is to keep the ball away from him. So yeah, Kristian can make that much of an impact when they're moving away from him. So for his weaknesses, though, he offers good, but not elite size. He's a bit slimmer his lower half. Average tackler, he's more of an ankle swiper or jersey grabber than a hitter. He does occasionally mistime his leap in jump ball situations. In 2017, he does come with some character red flags when he was suspended after he was caught attempting to use someone else's urine for an NCAA PED test. So he could be a bit of a druggie that takes some banned substances. So originally he got a 2-year suspension, but after an appeal, the suspension was reduced to 1 year. And then Kristian later on said that he was concerned that the test was for marijuana and not something else. Here's the good news, Kristian. If it was marijuana, the good news is in the NFL with the new CBA agreement, you don't get penalized for doing marijuana anymore. So now you can smoke all the weed you want every day. Anyway, for Kristian's NFL comparison, he's been compared to Marcus Peters of the Baltimore Ravens. Definitely has a lot of talent. He's a good playmaker, can make a big impact. You know, the character red flags, maybe a bit of a gamble, could drop his stock a bit, could raise it, who knows. You know, definitely, though, I think it's more a very high reward than high risk. So, yeah. The off-field concerns, it could threaten him, but the talent there is undeniable. He's that talented of a player. So, the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of the Ohio State University, standing 5'11", weighing 195 pounds, we have Damon Arnett, who was Jeff Okudah's partner in crime. So for Damon's strengths, he's a 3-year starting corner for a team that routinely produces quality NFL defensive backs. Ohio State's really done a good job of developing top defensive backs. While he is a tick short, though, he does sport a compact, well-developed frame, has rat terrier-like tenacity. He has quick pair-pat feet, allows him to stick to the hip of speed receivers. He's willing to throw a strong punch and knock receivers back. Although he doesn't incorporate the technique often, his starting experience shows his route recognition, including when he switches off downfield. He's also an aggressive open field tackler. So overall, Damon started 38 games for one of the nation's top programs. As a senior, Damon Arnett had second-team All-Big Ten honors. And for a senior, he finished with 140 tackles, 27 passes defended, and 5 interceptions. One of his main highlights in his senior year, it included a 96-yard pick six against Indiana. For his weaknesses, though, unlike most Ohio State players, though, he isn't going to wow scouts with his size and his speed. He's a better player than athlete, so we have to prospect is better football player than athlete cliche. So he relies on positioning and moxie more than his elite agility or acceleration. He can get away with some holding downfield. So one of the things he's going to have to do is learn to not take stupid penalties so often. And he uses his trailing arm to snake around receivers to reroute. His lack of ideal arm length occasionally shows up when he lunges for ball carriers that are just out of his grasp. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Chris Harris of the Los Angeles Chargers. And keep in mind, Chris Harris was the defensive back the Lions have wanted, a lot of Lions fans wanted on the team for a few years now. So we could potentially get a clone for him in the second round. I mean, he could be a good option in the second or even third round, maybe. You know, if the Lions take Isaiah Simmons with the third pick and pass on Okudah. I mean, it's Okuda's partner in crime. He also fits the scheme pretty well like Okudah does. Like, either of them could do a very good job. Definitely someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next defensive back we're going to go over here, hailing out of Auburn, standing 5'11", weighing 200 pounds, we have Noah Igbinoghene. I probably said that last name wrong. It's a goddamn tongue twister and a half. So anyway, Noah, he's your prototype closing and recovery defensive back. So he's very good on closing on the ball carrier. So overall, for his strengths, he has compact and he's competitive with springs per feet and swivel hips. Exciting talent, appears to be just scratching the surface's potential. So he has a lot more to go. He can only go up from here. He's at his best in the face of receivers and press man coverage. So he's very good at man coverage, can really do well there. He challenges opponents to beat him off the snap. He has such bounce in his legs, he rarely bothers with extending an arm to jam receivers. Potentially leaves himself off balance. He simply backpedals for a step or two before he fluently turns his body. Attaches himself at the hip to his opponent. Offers some positional versatility. There were times where he was inside at nickel. So he's the son of two former Nigerian Olympians. He signed with Auburn as a 4-star wide receiver in 2017. In 2018, he switched to corner as an experiment and ended up being a very good gamble that paid off big time, where he started the next 25 games at that position. He finishes his career with 92 tackles, 1 interception, 19 passes defended. He's also had standout work as a kickoff returner, whenever he brought back 2 kickoffs for a touchdown. So he can also be a solid special teamer too. For his weaknesses, though, he has a short, stubby frame, may not meet the requisites for some teams, will leave him severely overmatched against some of the monster-sized wideouts in the NFL. One of those elite athletes who may never switch to corner, had he shown more consistently reliable hands. He was protected by one of the fiercest defensive lines in all of college football, and not to mention also some hard-hitting safeties as well. He does play with the confidence that quarterbacks rarely would have time to attack deep. So he may have some issues in zone coverage, but the good news is Patricia's defensive scheme is more man-to-man coverage. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Chidobe Awuzie of the Dallas Cowboys, another tongue twister name there. So definitely a solid player to keep an eye on. You know, could also work as a special teamer too. So yeah, there's some versatility with him too, and he fits the scheme well as in man-to-man coverage. Definitely someone to for sure have on the board, without a doubt. So the next player we have here, hailing out of Louisiana Tech, standing 5'8", weighing 190 pounds, we have Amic Roberson. So Amic, he's your prototype top playmaker defensive back, so he can be counted on to always be making plays. So overall for his strengths, he has compact power-packed frame, more in line with playing running back than corner. Despite his build, he shows terrific initial quickness, agility, fluid acceleration to handle coverage duties, demonstrates above average overall athleticism for the position. His most exciting thing about him is that he's a better football player than athlete. So we have prospect as a better football player than athlete cliche. So he shows terrific instincts, knack for creating big plays, trusts his athleticism to handle corners that it covers at his own receivers, sneaks peeks at the QB, immediately leaves his primary assignment if the ball was headed elsewhere to make a play. Overall, He led the FBS in passes defended with 48 passes defended and 14 interceptions over the last 3 years. He's demonstrated, of course, terrific route recognition. And he's also in his last 3 bowl wins, he's had a combined record of 5 interceptions. One of those was a 45-yard pick six to cap off an All-American freshman season. So he can always be counted on to make those big plays. In terms of weaknesses, though, he has a sawed-off frame that could take him off the board for some teams that, prioritize height and length. While he is physical and he's an accurate hitter, his lack of length does show up with his tackle radius. He can be physically overmatched by some of the NFL's behemoth big-size wide receivers. He played mostly outside of Louisiana Tech, but his size and scrappy style project him best inside to nickel. He dominated lower level of competition, faces a steep jump into the next level. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Nickel Robbie Coleman of the Los Angeles Rams. Definitely can be counted on to make those big plays, whatever scheme he's in. Can also go in at nickel, so someone definitely that couldn't be counted on. Someone we should keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Virginia, standing 6'1", weighing 200 pounds, we have Bryce Hall. So Bryce Hall, he's your prototype intangibles defensive back. So overall, his strengths, he offers nice size. He's also a former wide receiver that locates the ball quickly, shows no panic. He times his leap and sneaking his long arms into those of the intended receiver. To break up the play. He's a savvy defender. He uses his length and route anticipation to choke passing angles and force QBs to look elsewhere. He has plus physicality. He's able to quickly rip free from receivers' blocks in the run game. He's a high character player. So overall, he was a 4-year starter. Has experience in a number of coverage techniques, which will suit him very well in the NFL, so he can play a lot of different schemes. In 2018, he was a second-team All-American. He also picked off 2 passes that led the nation with 22 pass breakups. His senior year, it was cut short this year with a broken ankle. So the injury does cause a bit of a red flag. Will it be a problem in the NFL? In terms of his weaknesses, though, he only has average twitch and straight line speed for position. That typically requires both, especially given the explosiveness he'll face on the outside in the NFL. He's a bit reliant on reading and rerouting receivers. Lacks the wheels to recover if his instincts are wrong. While he is a reliable tackler, he will duck his head on impact on occasion, and he'll fail to wrap securely. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Ahkello Witherspoon of the San Francisco 49ers. So he's a big receiver, can play a lot of schemes, can break up a lot of passes, But the entry, though, that is a question mark. That is a bit of a red flag. Could it be a problem in the NFL? So yeah, definitely high risk, but could be a high reward in the end. So the next defensive back we're going to go over here, hailing out of Oklahoma State, standing 6'1", weight 199 pounds, we have A.J. Green. So for A.J., his strengths, he's one of the better athletes in this cornerback class. He's able to move fluently in any direction. His back pedal is easy and natural. He should be capable of operating as an inside or outside corner. He makes up for some of his technical issues as a tackler by just being an angry hitter. He has a good tackling radius. He flashes reactive ability in zone coverage. He's also able to make up for lost ground if he makes mistakes with positioning. So overall, he was a 3-year starter with Oklahoma State. Twice in his career, he's earned second-team All-Big 12 honors. He's also passed battle tests in the Pass Happy League. In the past 3 years, he's had 145 tackles, and he's also had 6 interceptions, with 4 of them coming as a sophomore. For his weaknesses, though, his frame isn't filled out, though. He may struggle to match up physically against bigger receivers. He needs to be more controlled with the steps he takes. His inexperience working in press and doesn't have the power to pull it off at a high level, so he struggles in man coverage. His approach is more hesitant than patient. He bounces off hits, ends up ankle biting on a lot of shots. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to the now retired Antone Cason. So, you know, he's more zone coverage than man coverage. He has problems in the man coverage scheme. So I say for now, I'd say for this one, just pass. I say pass on AJ Green. Has a lot of potential, but he doesn't fit the scheme, so I'd say pass. And the final defensive back we're going to go over before we head on into the safeties. We have, hailing out of Nebraska, standing 6'2", weighing 206 pounds, we have Lamar Jackson. So Lamar, for his strengths, he's a long levered press corner with the height, arm length, 32 and an eighth of an inch, and he has physicality and awareness of the ball in the flight to project as an NFL starter. He often gets a strong initial jab on receivers to disrupt their release. Does not rely on it, though. He shows the lateral angle for side shuffling as well as the putter pass, pitter pat, back pedal to keep opponents guessing. He loses a half step in his transition, but he accelerates quickly once his hips turn. He possesses good speed to handle outside duties deep downfield. He's also an accomplished blitzer as well, so he can also pass rush too. So overall, he earned second team All Big Ten honors as a senior. He finished among the national leaders in passes defended with 15, and with 3 of those being interceptions, which was a career high. Also in his career, he's also forced 2 fumbles. They set a career high in tackles as a senior, and tackles for a loss. Tackles with 40 and tackles for a loss with 4.5. He generates some buzz at the Senior Bowl with his length and improved ball skills. So definitely Patricia's had work with him in the Senior Bowl. So really his stock really went up from thereafter. So for weaknesses though, his position as an outside corner and his press scheme specifics, it limits his fit at the next level. Like most corners, though, his size, he lacks elite fluidity and will struggle against shorter, quicker wideouts on underneath routes when he's unable to bully them at the line. While his experience is in off-man and zone coverage, he too often arrives late, surrenders easy reception because his feet get stuck in the ground out of his breaks. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Ahkello Witherspoon of the San Francisco 49ers. So Kittle getting some love here. So yeah, he's very solid. It does really well in man coverage, though. Gonna need to work on timing, though. Definitely somebody that Patricia will for sure have on the draft board. Considering it's somebody that he worked with at the Senior Bowl. He'll definitely be on the board without a doubt. So moving on now to the safeties. The first one we're gonna go over here, hailing out of California, standing 6'1", weighing 195 pounds, we have Ashton Davis. So for Ashton's strengths, he's a speed, instinctive, and hard-hitting free safety whose maniacal playing style will endear him to coaches and teammates. Has easy athleticism with greasy knees, loose hips, changes directions bluntly, accelerates in a flash. He tops out with above-average speed, hyper-aggressive, trusts his eyes and attacks the ball, allows him to play even faster than he'll run for the stopwatch. He has a lanky build, but as a determined thumper who typically knocks ball carriers to the ground immediately. Often he lines up as a single high free safety, possesses the speed and awareness to handle this responsibility. He has top recognition skills. He trusted to drop down and handle coverage of receivers, tight ends, and backs. He's quick to read. He runs with no fear. Impressive body control, times and hand-eye coordination, slaps the ball away, makes an interception. He was also a standout hurdler on the California track and field team. 2018, he was named an All-American. He also won the Pac-12 championship in the 110-meter hurdles for track and field with a time of 13.5 seconds. So overall, he's a walk-on that started 32 career games. He's not only had first-team work as a safety, he's also had work at corner and at kickoff returner. So he can play on multiple different positions, including special teams. He entered the starting lineup as a freshman in 2016 as a redshirt at corner. In 2017, he tied for the lead in the FBS with 39 kick returns. Also started the last 6 games of the season as a safety. 2018 as a junior, he had all 12 pack notice. In 2019, he started 11 games as a senior before he appeared at the Senior Bowl. He's also been listed as a top sleeper pick in the draft, so someone that could surprise a lot of people. Especially with him in the Senior Bowl, the stock's going to continue to go up if he impressed there. So for weaknesses, though, he's a reliable open field tackler, takes risky angles, though, in pursuit, fails to wrap up completely. Most of his hits, though, are delivered with enough force to knock ball carriers to the ground. He will need to improve in that area against the bigger, stronger, more balanced opponents he'll face in the NFL. Davis, he has a Tasmanian devil playing style. It does result in some mistakes in coverage, so he's got to work on that. With those savvy NFL QBs that's sure to attempt to bait him with those pump fakes so he can bite it easily. So he's got to work at not biting the pump fake. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent safety Demarius Randall. So yeah, he has a lot of potential and a very fast athlete. But, he's going to have to work a lot on coverage skills for sure. Someone definitely should keep an eye on. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Alabama, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 200 pounds, we have Xavier McKinney. So Xavier, he's your prototype man coverage safety, so he's very good in the man coverage game. For his strengths, he's a quality all-around athlete, ability to play over the field. While he isn't quite at the level that Micah Fitzpatrick, who he took this role over for, was... he's used in many of the same ways that Micah was used at Alabama, where he plays in the box, the slot, the deep half, deep middle, has comparable effectiveness too, quick downhill, not afraid to get his hands dirty, shows toughness and physicality, also capable as a slot cover man, both in man-to-man and in zone coverage so he can fit any scheme. Showed a nose for the football, had 5 interceptions, 20 pass breakups, 5 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery over the last 2 years. Overall, he's the next in the long line of the great Tim Crim's Alabama defensive backs. He began on special teams as a freshman before he took over as a starter in 2018. He knocked 73 tackles, along with 6 for a loss in 2018. 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 12 passes defended. He also won defensive MVP honors at the Orange Bowl. As a junior, he had his tackle total increased to where he had 95 tackles. 5.5 tackles for a loss, had 3 sacks, 3 interceptions, 8 passes defended, 4 forced fumbles before he decided to declare for the NFL draft. For his weaknesses, though, he lacks the elite athleticism to be a full-time player deep. Could survive as a single high safety, but he is better served as a split safety, though. Doesn't move with the same fluidity and speed in reverse. He's likely best served in an attacking role. Though he has 2 years as a starter, his inexperience shines through as his instincts are inconsistent. So consistency is an issue, just like every other young player in the draft has had his consistency issues. He's been involved in a fair number of miscommunications, so he's got to learn to communicate better. He's physically capable, but he doesn't always track routes down with great awareness. So he's got to get work better on the routes. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Marcus May of the New York Jets. So he's a very solid player. He fits the scheme. He can play man and zone coverage, can play any scheme. Very solid, definitely someone the Lions should for sure have on the draft board. Someone to definitely keep an eye on, without a doubt. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Winona Rye, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 210 pounds, we have Kyle Duggar. So Kyle, he's your prototype closing and recovery safety. So he's very good closing on the ball carrier. For his strengths, he's a physical prototype for the NFL, could have played in the SEC, has a sculpted musculature and natural athleticism, shows impressive awareness and positional versatility, has the physical talent, demonstrates good route anticipation, range as a single high safety, quickness, length to swallow receivers, a one-on-one, so he's very good in man-to-man coverage, provides steady heavy hits and run support, has speed to handle NFL receivers, accelerates quickly with short choppy steps, opens up to second gear, long arms, expands tackle net, shows good hand-eye coordination, the lasso to feet of the ball carriers. He whips up to his opposing size when he has a runway, develops teeth-rattling hits, good hands for interceptions. He had 7 career interceptions. He's a natural with the ball in his hand, shows vision, elusiveness, and speed in the open field. Before the 2019 season, his 40-yard dash was clocked in around 4.41 to 4.45 seconds. So he's very fast, too. Also has a 40-inch vertical, too. Overall, his impact was evident in 2019. He played only 7 games, though, due to injury. but he still claimed the Cliff Harris Award as the top defensive player in Division II. He was also a first-team All-American. He returned 2 punts for a touchdown in 2019, along with a pick 6. He fought through a lot of injuries in college, but the last 5 years he's played 42 games. He's also had 7 career return touchdowns, so he's very also good in the kick return. So he can also be a good special teamer as well. So for weaknesses, though, he's a man among boys at this level. You know, he turned 24 before training camp this year. So we have to prospect as a man among boys at his level cliche. And he was also bigger, faster, and more physical than his Division II opponents. He faces a steeper change, though, in competition. He plays aggressively, sometimes pays for it. He lunges to break up passes or to make the tackle, only to come up slightly short. He will require a close look by a number of team doctors. He missed 5 games in 2019, of course, with the injury. The injury was also a hand injury, so he has a hand injury. He also missed all of 2016 with an undisclosed injury. So that also forced a second red shirt for him in a 3-year span. So he does come with some injury issues, so that does come with a red flag. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Kevin Byard of the Tennessee Titans. So he's a very talented player, but the injuries is a bit of a red flag. Comes with injury history. Will it become a problem in the NFL? Will he be injury prone? That's the big question here. Definitely high risk, but it could be a high reward in the end if it pays off and he can stay healthy. Like, definitely the key for him to be successful in the NFL is for him to stay healthy, without a doubt. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Minnesota, standing 5'10", weighing 205 pounds, we have Todd Winfield Jr. So Anton, for his strengths, he has great football instincts. He's a takeaway machine, so he's very good at generating turnovers. There are times, though, it feels that he has a sixth sense as to exactly what the offense is doing, though. He's a physical player and a good tackler. If the pass is thrown near him, he will catch it. Once he catches it, though, he's a threat to score any time. So he can also turn those turnovers and get points off them. So can be counted on there to make plays. He has the ability to contribute on special teams and coverage, and as a return man, gives him immediate added value. So he can also play special teams too, which also adds to him too, so he can play multiple schemes. He's a fiery player, plays with emotion after he channels in a positive manner. So we see the depth blitzer with positional versatility to play corner in the slot or on the boundary. Also has the ability to play safety. So overall, he's the son of former Ohio State and NFL safety Todd Winfield. He was a first-team All-Big Ten pick and was the Minnesota's team MVP in 2019. He led Minnesota in tackle with 88 tackles. He also set the school season record with 7 interceptions. He entered the draft following his redshirt sophomore year. He's a 3-time academic All-Big Ten selection. Winfield has 177 career tackles, 9 interceptions, 3 touchdowns. 1 touchdown was punt return, 2 were pick sixes. For his weaknesses, though, he's undersized. He's probably a better fit in the zone scheme than man-to-man, so he has issues in man-to-man coverage. That makes his success in the NFL somewhat scheme-dependent. Not the fastest player on the field. Matchup problems are a reality that he will need to overcome, so he has to get better at matching up with other players. He does have a tendency to play too loose with his hands in coverage. He can get in the habit of diving at the feet of the ball carriers with his shoulders instead of wrapping up. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Desmond Kane, the Los Angeles Chargers. So he's a very solid player, but he's more for zone scheme than man-to-man scheme. So has issues in the man-to-man scheme. So for this one, since Patricia's is more man-to-man and they rarely do zone, I'm going to say for this one, I'm going to say, even though he's very talented and can generate points and turnovers, I'm going to say pass. I think we need to get players in here that fit the scheme. I'm going to say pass on Anton. He'll be a solid player, just not in this scheme. So I'm going to say pass on him. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Texas, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 210 pounds, we have Brandon Jones. So Brandon's strengths, he's compactly built. He's a fluent athlete with impressive change of direction, accelerates to handle coverage duties against NFL receivers. Versatile defender, asked to play multiple roles in Texas' scheme. He's best covering one-on-one, so he's very good in man-to-man coverage. Demonstrates silky, smooth turn and run capabilities, as well as good route recognition and ball skills. Easy mover, though, with light feet and a clean back pedal. He doesn't panic with the ball in the air. He competes at the catch point and incorporates strong hand-eye coordination and rip the ball away. He takes sharp angles to the ball in pursuit. Generally reliable tackler. Trips up ball carriers seemingly out of his grasp with long arms. Lasso their feet. He attacks blocking receivers. He uses forceful hands and good coordination in his lower half to rip himself free quickly. Overall, he started one game as a freshman in 2016. But the last 3 years, he's made a total of 30 starts. In 2016, he was a high school All-American in the Under Armour game. In 2015, he was named Texas Defensive Player of the Year by USA Today. His father, Burt Jones, also played football in Texas also. Overall, Brandon Jones, he's posted a career-best 86 tackles in 2019 with 2 interceptions in his senior year, despite missing a total of 4 games, though, with injury. So injuries are a bit of a red flag, since he missed a lengthy amount of time to it. So in weaknesses, though, he's in on a lot of tackles. He's too often a duck and swipe ankle biter, rather than being a forceful hitter. Doesn't shy away from contact. His first 23 games, he had 0 interceptions. He's too reckless with his angles in pursuit, leaves his teammates in a lurch if he doesn't make the tackle. He isn't the consistent team defender that his all-conference role indicates or his captain role may indicate. He fails to protect the boundary and forces ball carriers back inside too often. He's also been listed as a player that could disappoint in the draft, could disappoint at the pros. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Tayshaun Gibson of the Houston Texans. So he has some potential here, but he's very boom or bust. Missing health. He had some health issues, with the injuries. And he's a bit inconsistent, so that may weigh in. It's very high risk for him. But if you can utilize him correctly, could be high reward in the end. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Southern Illinois, standing 6'3", weighing 219 pounds, we have Jeremy Chin. So Jeremy, he's listed as one of those small school studs, so he's someone that really has been killing it in the high school area. The small school area, yeah. For those small college schools. So for his strengths, he looks the part of a big-time safety prospect, has prototypical size, broad shoulders, rangy athletic frame. He glides, he's an effortless runner, alters his gait and speed to easily run with opponents at the FCS level. Has long arms, terrific hand-eye coordination, slaps passes away as they arrived. Has excellent ball skills. Out of the 31 passes he's got his hand on during his college career, 13 of them were interceptions, so he's good at getting turnovers. His length also comes into play as a tackler, has the wingspan to slow up ball carriers, has competitive wrap-up tackler, can deliver a blow when he has a lane, has good strength to make drag-down tackles while still engaged with the blockers. He's aggressive around the pile, rips at the ball when teammates gain tackle opponents. He has high marks for intangibles. His coaches and teammates rave about his maturity, his commitment, so he's very mature. So overall, the size and physicality is on his side. He's one of the biggest defensive backs among the lot, expected to draw interest in the top 64 in this year's draft, so someone that could go very early. He's already tested against the likes of A.J. Hollywood Brown and Dallas Goedert in college. He stood out at the Senior Bowl, though. He was tested at linebacker, corner, and safety by the Detroit Lions coaching staff, since the Lions were coaching in the Senior Bowl. So the Lions have experience working with him there. It's definitely going to be on the board, and potentially in multiple positions. He has impressive fluidity off the ball, already established as a playmaker running to the ball. He began his career as a defensive back. He moved back and forth to safety and boundary corner. He was a 2-time All-Missouri Valley Football Conference pick in the FCS. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he has a smooth, deceptive, gliding, running style, but like a lot of taller athletes that were his size, he loses a step during his transition. He tops out quickly. He raises doubt for some of his true speed. He played free safety and some corner early at Southern Illinois. They may wind up projecting better to strong safety, though, as speed is a concern in the NFL. It makes his transition that much more difficult, though. Some teams could view him as a linebacker, though, where he will be a true production, though. He had 0 snaps there for Southern Illinois. He's also had some minor injury history, though. In 2019, he missed 2 games with a foot injury. 2018, he missed 2 games with a hamstring injury. 2016, he missed 3 games with a shoulder injury. So for an NFL comparison, he's been compared to Micah Hyde of the Buffalo Bills. So definitely for him, he's a very talented ball carrier. He'll be on the board. The Lions worked with him in the draft, in the Senior Bowl, of course. He'll definitely be someone the Lions will be considering in the draft. But he has a lot of injury history. That's going to be a big red flag. Is it going to be a problem in the NFL? Especially with the Lions' injury history last year. So he's going to be he can be a talented player, but the key for him to be successful, of course, is for him to stay healthy. Definitely high risk, but if he can stay healthy, it could be a high reward. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of the Ohio State University, standing 6'2", weighing 205 pounds, we have Jordan Fuller. So for Jordan's strengths, he plays with a comfortable confidence. He's been praised for his leadership and his pro-level preparation at Ohio State. He has experience as a single high defender. He's reliable at finishing interceptions when the ball is in range. He has room to bulk up, has decent accuracy as a tackler. Should allow him to hit most of his targets. He doesn't make many mental mistakes, so he's very smart at keeping his head on straight and not making dumbass moves and taking those dumbass penalties. So overall, as a high school senior with New Jersey, he was voted as the Gatorade High School Player of the Week. In his career with Ohio State, he played in 52 games, had 224 tackles, 5.5 tackles for a loss, recovered 3 fumbles. In 2019, he was a second-team All-Big Ten pick. He also participated in the East-West Shrine game in January. He shows impressive sideline-to-sideline mobility. You know, Ohio State also used him in a variety of ways at corner, at deep middle safety, and also as a blitz linebacker. So he's very versatile on a defense, can be a Swiss Army knife if used correctly. So for his weaknesses, though, he's limited in terms of speed and explosiveness. Doesn't make many plays by true closing from behind. He lacks the range to be a quality 2-deep safety at the next level. He's a stiff mover, isn't big enough, though, to slide the linebacker. Lacks the functional feet and twitch to play free safety, though. He falls off tackle attempts too often, though. His power is not often enough against momentum of runners. He's unlikely to get much more athletic regardless of how he adjusts his body. He's not aggressive, though, at the catch point. His angles in the run game are unrefined, and it takes him out of play, so he's going to have to learn to get better at that. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to retired safety Chris Hackett. So definitely he can be used in a lot of different ways, though, but he's got a few small things he's got to take care of to get better at the pros. Someone know that has a lot of potential, could be used maybe for depth. Someone we should definitely keep an eye on for sure. And finally, the final safety, the final player we're going to go over in this video, hailing out of Utah, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 195 pounds, we have Julian Blackmun. So for Julian's strengths, he's a long, lean defensive back, has legit feet, white feet, smooth hips to turn and run with receivers. He's also position versatile. He's in 2017 and 2018, he started at a corner before he made the transition to free safety as a senior, with the likes of top 50 NFL draft picks like Marcus Blair with the Seahawks and Marcus Williams of the New Orleans Saints, who moved on to the pros. He's a generally reliable open field tackler, flashes the ability to be a true striker, drops his shoulder in receivers for big hits. He's a big play magnet with an impressive track record for producing turnovers, so he can generate those big plays and can generate turnovers. Has good awareness of throwing lanes, flashes impressive timing and body control on his leaps, as well as above-average ball skills for the position. Overall, he was a standout high school wide receiver. He was also a 2-time All-Pac-12 pick at corner before he slid to safety in 2019. So overall, he started in 39 games, played in 48 though. He leaves Utah with 9 career interceptions. So his weaknesses though, he plays pass at the position in spurts, but he looked timid in his first season at safety, including in Utah's surprising loss to USC. when he was exposed deep, so he may have issues with the deep ball. He's not shown the sideline range necessary for single high course in the NFL. Some scouts, though, question his ability to process what's in front of him, thereby his reaction time may be slower than normal. He was more hesitant as a tackler in 2019. He takes soft angles to the ball. Too often allows teammates to do the dirty work for him, so he's got to find a way to step it up. He's a bit thin in the lower body with just average size for his position. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Marcus Williams of the New Orleans Saints. So someone that can make plays, but he's going to need to be more consistent. He's going to have to step up and do the dirty work on his own instead of have someone do it for him. So yeah, someone to keep an eye on for sure. So yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here for another Detroit Lions NFL Draft preview for the 2020 NFL Draft. That's actually going to wrap it up here for all the Day 2 draft previews. So we completed the Day 2 draft previews. Now next week we move on to the Day 3 previews. So for Day 3 previews, it's very simple. Every position will be reviewed for Day 3. So every position will be reviewed because rounds 4 through 7, it's mainly addressing whatever needs you didn't address in the first 3 rounds. And those other later rounds are also for addressing depth and adding depth pieces to the team. So yeah, every position will be reviewed, of course. So yeah, we're definitely going to be coming back to defensive backs and safeties. So yeah, you got those to look forward to for the next couple weeks, since that's going to be a couple weeks to do. As we still stay quiet due to the COVID-19 outbreak. We also got another episode of Free Agency Wars coming up in the coming day or so. So yeah, you got that to look forward to. So yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here for this draft preview. If you enjoyed it, smash the like button. And if you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for more of this content. I've been C-Rad from C-RadTV. Hope everyone's a great day, and yeah, peace out.